Hello, basketball people, we have news. Let's go to more news about the Golden State Warriors. I ask you to give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as I am a Warriors fan. A trade deal between the Warriors and Bucks would shake the NBA world if it happened. Giannis Antetokounmpo teaming up with Stephen Curry to win the championship. This would immediately put Golden State in a different situation. While it may seem unlikely, the team is clearly aiming for a strong playoff run. With Curry and the rest of the team not getting any younger, the Warriors management may be forced to make a trade to win now. If this comes to fruition, the Giannis and Steph duo has the potential to become one of the top 10 partnerships of all time. The Golden State Warriors want to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. It's the worst-kept secret in basketball. Such a deal means giving up either Jimmy Butler or Draymond Green, a painfully difficult decision. Could the path to getting a deal done involve the Chicago Bulls? The Bulls and the Warriors are linked via trade all the time. From Nikola Vucevic last season, Alex Caruso, and Zach LaVine the year before that, and dating all the way back to a draft day trade that could have brought Tyrese Halliburton to the Dubs instead of James Wiseman, the Bulls and the Warriors have been eyeing one another from across the room but haven't danced. The last trade between the two teams was when the Warriors bought the pick that became Jordan Bell. The last player traded between the two teams was C.J. Watson going to Chicago in 2010. Recent speculation has linked the Bulls and Jonathan Kuminga, but with Matisse Buzelis breaking out, such a deal seems increasingly unlikely. Chicago doesn't want to take the ball out of the hands of Josh Giddey and Buzelis to give Kuminga a crack at things. Yet that doesn't mean the Bulls aren't interested in a power forward on the roster. As Chicago looks to take a step forward, they need a defensive difference-maker. Reporting has suggested they want their Pascal Siakam, a veteran star who can come in and inject some seriousness to the franchise. Draymond Green isn't on the level of Siakam on offense, but the impact he could have on their defense would be monstrous. Why would the Warriors trade Green to the Bulls? They wouldn't, unless it was a part of a larger deal to land Giannis Antetokounmpo in the Bay. If the Milwaukee Bucks are moving off of Antetokounmpo, it won't be to keep a semi-competitive team on the court. Green is 35 years old, he would need to be routed to another team. That's where the Bulls come in. If the Warriors build a trade for Antetokounmpo and route Green to the Chicago Bulls, the Bulls can send a pick and less intimidating salary to the Bucks to get things flowing. Credit to the Third Apron for building a potential trade to make this happen. Here is the deal in full. Chicago Bulls receive Draymond Green. Golden State Warriors receive Giannis Antetokounmpo. Milwaukee Bucks receive Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Chicago 2026 first-round pick GSW 26, 28, 30, 32 first-round picks. Is this deal worth it for the Warriors? Moving on from Green is a difficult choice, but it's not altogether different than moving on from Klay Thompson. The Warriors did that at the right time, and this could be the move to say goodbye to Draymond before he falls off a cliff or crosses the line again, but it will still be difficult. Moving on from a four-time champion and the best defender of his generation is not a decision made lightly. The resulting team, however, might just make it worth it. Stephen Curry, Moses Moody, Jimmy Butler, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Al Horford as a closing five, with the likes of Brandon Podziemski, DeAnthony Melton, Gary Payton II, Will Richard, Gue Santos and Quinton Post coming off the bench. There would also be a roster spot opened up for Pat Spencer to join the full roster. It's a big swing, and not one taken lightly. If the Bucks are open to such a deal, however, this one makes a lot of sense for all teams involved. And it could make the Warriors a true title contender even in the age of the Thunder. Jimmy Butler reminds the Warriors exactly why they traded for him. He can still propel the team to wins when they most need it. With their dominant win over the Chicago Bulls, the Golden State Warriors have now won 4 of their past 5 games in the absence of Stephen Curry. Yet, while one of these wins was earned by a scraped-together starting lineup in the absence of their other star, Jimmy Butler, his return on Sunday night against Chicago reminded the team of a crucial point. Butler can still be the scorer this team needs in its most pivotal moments. On the night, Butler posted 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists while shooting 50% from the field, and while the Warriors were buoyed by solid performances from Quinton Post and Pat Spencer as well, it was Butler who was truly the star of the game. Jimmy Butler can still be the guy even when Curry is out. This season, the Warriors have been held back by a combination of injury issues and inconsistent play from their peripheral scorers, having now settled into a 13-12 record and the 8th seed in the Western Conference even following their recent hot streak. Yet, Butler's performance during this stretch has served as a poignant reminder of exactly what he provides the team with. In their 104-96 win against the New Orleans Pelicans, Butler's box score stats looked even better. He posted 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists. Yet, his performance against the Bulls, a team that was uniquely poised to give Golden State problems given the pace at which they have played the game this season, was considerably more important. Coming back from a brief absence as he managed a nagging knee injury, Butler took the team on his back, earning a much-needed win at the end of a week that tested the team's depth immensely. Curry is set to return on Friday against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Butler now, with his return, has left the team in a position to enter their period of rest with another win under their belt. When Golden State traded for Butler, it was with the clear intention that, in addition to providing secondary scoring services with Curry on the court, he would be able to keep the team afloat when Curry, inevitably, needed to miss time. Through this stretch that Curry has missed with a quad injury, Butler has done exactly that, and, although there have been some ups and downs through his time with the team as far as his ability to be a primary scorer is concerned, he showed up in a big way against Chicago. Over his last 6 games, Butler has averaged 18 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 5.7 assists. While he has maintained this level performance over the course of the whole season so far, his importance is now truly beginning to show again as the Warriors find their footing. Pat Spencer's promising play adds questions for Warriors. When the Golden State Warriors entered this season, many around the organization anticipated breakout years from their promising first-round picks. After Moses Moody's off-season thumb surgery, Jonathan Kuminga's strong showing in the Minnesota Timberwolves series, and Brandon Podziemski's bold declaration, the presuming thought was that big leaps were on the horizon. What most didn't expect was that the leap would come from Pat Spencer. Pat Spencer started from the bottom. Undrafted, Spencer played professionally in Germany before landing spots on the Washington Wizards and Warriors G League squads. At an initial glance, he doesn't emanate a prototypical NBA baller. But the former college lacrosse standout has proved to be a surprisingly beneficial asset for the Warriors. On a team where much of the cast tends to hesitate to shoot or attack the rim, Spencer does so with a willingness that puts pressure on opposing defenses. He exudes an unwavering confidence that jolts the team with energy and, at times, has put them on his back. With Jimmy Butler and Stephen Curry sidelined with injuries against the Thunder and Cavaliers, the door opened for more minutes and opportunities. The Maryland native had already shown flashes earlier this season when sharing the court with the team's stars, but in their absence, his impact was magnified. Though considered an older player by NBA standards, his experience and poise have paid dividends. When Curry and Butler missed time, the offense looked its best when it flowed through him. After coach Steve Kerr controversially pulled him during the final minutes against the Oklahoma City Thunder, Kerr righted his mistake by closing with him against the 76ers. In a game where he had the team's highest point total and plus-minus, he was the key to spearheading their comeback attempt. Despite the Warriors heartbreakingly coming up short, one thing was evident: Pat Spencer needed to play more. Continuing to impress. His strong performances became too much for Kerr to ignore. Kerr chose to give Spencer his first NBA start Saturday against the Cavs, in which he once again was the leading scorer and was a +9 in the 5-point victory. The impressive outing propelled the squad to its first win without its star trio. Spencer's second consecutive start against the Bulls was another risk for Kerr that paid off in a big way. With Jimmy Butler back in the lineup, the team led the entire way and rattled off another win. The Warriors went 2-1 on their road trip, which easily could have been 3-0. They now get 4 days of rest and have Steph Curry's return looming, feeding Golden State a renewed sense of hope. It's too early to tell if those pivotal wins have unlocked something within this team. But remaining above .500 while missing their stars and enduring a brutal first-month schedule could be an indicator that the tides are turning. Two-way trouble. Spencer's impressive play is a positive sign for a team desperate for supplementary help. The primary problem, however, is that the 29-year-old is currently on a two-way contract. This is an issue because he is only allowed to play a maximum of 50 games for the Warriors. The contract limit takes into account any games he is made active for, not just ones he plays in. Following Sunday night's game in Chicago, he has played in 17 of the Warriors' 25 games, but has been made active for all 25. This means that he is already halfway over his quota, even though the Warriors still have 57 games left. The Warriors' predicament is made more interesting by Spencer outplaying his more youthful counterparts, who were touted as the up-and-coming iteration. In Philadelphia, Kerr notably went with Spencer down the stretch over Moody, Kuminga, and Podziemski, whose nights ended early due to their struggles. Kuminga played just 2.5 fourth-quarter minutes in Cleveland and was a DNP in Chicago. The young triad may have more upside in the long run, but what the team needs at this moment is reliability and consistency. And as of now, Spencer has filled that role better than they have. His 7.4 point per game average doesn't leap off the stat sheet, however, Pat Spencer's ability to fearlessly take over games in the clutch while steadily initiating the offense makes him a crucial part of the team. Pat Spencer deserves a spot. The needs of the roster make it hard to grapple with the point guard's limiting contract. Last season, the Warriors signed Spencer to a standard deal after being on a two-way again. They can do the same this go-around, though that would likely mean moving someone to create room. An additional point to consider is the fight for minutes on the roster. Seth Curry and DeAnthony Melton's returns will automatically take up two positions at the guard spot. In their brief playing time thus far, they have shown no reason to believe they shouldn't see the floor. The supporting cast's underwhelming performances, along with team injuries, signify that Spencer must be available to play the remaining games. Above all, he has earned Steve Kerr's trust. This is why keeping him should be a priority, even if it means having some uncomfortable conversations. On Steve Kerr giving the thumbs up on the Warriors running a pick-and-roll offense. Dubs have been shifting their offense noticeably as of late. With 8 minutes and 51 seconds left in the third quarter of the Golden State Warriors' scintillating upset victory over the Cleveland Cavaliers, the NBC Sports Bay Area broadcast fortuitously panned over to Steve Kerr, in the process of calling a play during a stoppage situation. It could not be any more clear what Kerr was gesturing with his hand, while calling out the name of the play and who should be involved in that play. Kerr very clearly calls out thumb up, along with an accompanying thumbs up gesture. On the third time he yells out the play, he adds that it should be QP, referring to Quinton Post, who should be involved in the play. Soon after, thumb up would turn out to be a high ball screen with a spread floor, with Post's involvement in the play being the screener for the ball handler, Pat Spencer. The Cavs opt to switch the ball screen, with Evan Mobley taking Spencer around the screen. Buddy Hield attempts to make himself available via a short lift, but the initial switch allows his defender, and the entire Cavs defense, to stay home and out of rotation. As a result, Hield's shot is contested and promptly clanks off back iron. More than just the result of the possession above is the nature of the possession. Kerr is known for being reticent to call out spread pick-and-roll sets in the half-court, let alone center his offense around the pick-and-roll play type. Less than 1% of all their offensive possessions this season have been finished by the ball handler in the pick-and-roll or the roll man setting the ball screen, dead last in the NBA, per synergy tracking. Suffice to say, the play type that has become the bread and butter of the league throughout the last decade, albeit the frequency of it being depended upon has seen a league-wide decline over the past few years, is virtually a non-factor in Kerr and the Warriors' offensive philosophy. In their first 22 games of the season, the Warriors averaged roughly 28 pick-and-roll possessions per game, all of which were finished either by the ball handler, the screener, or a third teammate. In this case, a finished possession would be considered a made field goal, a missed field goal rebounded by the opponent, a foul resulting in free throws, or a turnover. For reference, the team that has the highest frequency of pick-and-roll possessions this season, Charlotte Hornets, average roughly 44 pick-and-roll possessions per game. Over the last 3 games against the Philadelphia 76ers, the Cavs, and the Chicago Bulls, the Warriors' pick-and-rolls per game has seen a drastic increase, 41 possessions per game. Over the last 3 games against the Philadelphia 76ers, the Cavs, and the Chicago Bulls, the Warriors' pick-and-rolls per game has seen a drastic increase, 41 possessions per game. It's clear that, in this period sans the services of Steph Curry and, for the first 2 games of the road trip, Jimmy Butler, Kerr has pivoted from a mostly off-ball screen/handoff heavy offense toward one that has mixed in a healthy dose of high ball screens, with thumb up being his play call for a spread pick-and-roll. Part of Kerr being comfortable with running a sudden infusion of a play type that he has previously been hesitant to depend on was confidence in the abilities of Spencer to run a pick-and-roll offense.